Hello, lovely people. Welcome back to another book chat. This is take 6. um, yeah, I don't know what's happening today. It's been about 6 weeks since I did the last one, and apparently I have forgotten, not the books, I seem to be remembering the books, but I've forgotten how to talk about books. Probably doesn't surprise many of you who've been watching my videos for a while, but you probably think that all the time. Look, I don't talk to people a lot, okay? Righty, so as you can see, back out in the garden in New Zealand, this winter weather is just terrible. Birds have all been singing behind me. I'm still hoping the tuis come back. So far, out of the 5 videos I've tried to do previously, they haven't. But if I hear them, I'll stop and we'll see if we can hear them and maybe even see them, because they are beautiful and their song's gorgeous, and about the only bird song I can identify. The only bird song I can identify. I'm not an ornithologist at all. Okay, I'm going to try this again. But the first thing I want to say is, how are you doing out there? Things are still weird. Things are going to continue to be weird for a while, and I know, particularly in the Northern Hemisphere, things have just been, the summer sounds hectic, between the heat waves and the fires in so many places, and obviously the ongoing pandemic, which is not really showing any signs of going away. News hasn't exactly been great recently. So yeah, I just really hope you're looking after yourselves physically, but also mentally and emotionally. That's just so massively important. I know this has just been so long. We seem to have been talking about this for so long. But it's not over yet. We just need to keep looking out for ourselves and looking out for each other. And yeah, I hope you're doing okay. My emails are open, my messages are open. Drop a comment below, let me know how you're doing. And yeah, I will always reply, even if time difference things get really weird and disjointed. Okay, so we're actually in lockdown here in New Zealand, and I'm getting really good at lockdowns after all the lockdowns in the UK. Got out of the last one, came down here, got another one. But honestly, it's I think it's really sensible, and hopefully they're going to be able to get on top of this latest outbreak. And for me, it makes no difference anyway, because I don't go anywhere. Although I had just got my library card, and I haven't been able to go to the library yet, so yeah, a little bit gutted. Okay, however, I have Kindle, I have books. So, on to the books. Last time we talked, I just finished Lindsay Buroker's Star Kingdom series, which was amazing, and I loved it, and I had no idea what to do with myself when I finished it. So, what I did with myself when I finished it was I tried reading some non-fiction, because that's always sort of a good one when I don't know what to do. So I read The Zoologist's Guide to the Galaxy, What Animals on Earth Reveal About Aliens and Ourselves, by Dr. Eric Kirschenbaum. So hopefully you can see that cover there. And it's really interesting concept. So it is basically just looking at how the pressures of life, pressures of the environment on Earth, how that caused life to arise, and how it evolved, and how maybe from looking at that we can look at other planets and surmise how things might have happened there, or how things could happen there. And so yeah, it's a really interesting read. It's written well, it's accessible, and I haven't finished it because I'm really bad with non-fiction books, and because mostly what non-fiction I read tends to be science, and I'll sort of get distracted and I'll go away and read something else, and then I'll eventually come back to it, but I haven't come back to this one yet, although I intend on doing so. But I thought I'd mention it because it's a really, it's really interesting, or I thought so. So if you're into aliens and evolution, and not aliens, but different worlds and evolution, it might be a good one to pick up. So, I had a couple of, I had one did not finish, which was The North Water by Iain Maguire. The cover won't show on my Kindle for some reason, I don't know why. Well written. I was quite intrigued by it because it's basically a hunt for a serial killer within a boat that's caught in the ice in the Arctic. So I thought, well, that should be quite interesting. It was one of those ones which uses the language of the day, or the language of the time, and it is set in the 1800s, and I just wasn't, it didn't do it for me. I kind of my feeling on that is you can have a setting of time and place without necessarily using some of the language that was used. And then they've got to a certain point where, I just found some of it a bit distasteful. One of the scenes in there and a couple of the things that the characters said, so I just went, okay, not working for me. Was well written though, and so if that sort of thing doesn't bother you, definitely give it a go, because it did sound like an intriguing idea. And I believe it's a movie or a miniseries or something, maybe, possibly, or is going to be something. I might try that. That might be more interesting. Might be more sweet. Okay, so that was one of my did not finishes, and I had a couple of others, but I won't really bother talking about them. I had a couple of finishes as well where I just won't finish them. No. So won't bother with them either. What we will talk about is Sandy Toksvig, the wonderful Sandy Toksvig, who I absolutely love. When she took over for QI, I was like, oh no, Stephen Fry did such an amazing job. Can it ever be the same? But obviously she's wonderful at that, just as she seems to be wonderful at everything. But always when celebrities write books, I'm a bit, oh no, this could really change the way I see them, particularly celebrities I like. I was the same when I first read a Stephen Fry book. I was like, oh no. But I enjoy his books. Loved this book. So it's Flying Under Bridges by Sandy Toksvig. And when you read the blurb, you think, oh, well, murder mystery? Why not? Not really what you sort of expected, right? But okay. It'll be whodunit. And the setup is that basically you've got this little village and two girls who grew up together as women. One of them stayed there, and she's married, she's got a couple of kids, that sort of thing. And she's having a little bit of a crisis where she's sort of caught sight of herself and realised that she's old, she's aged, and she's not quite sure what she's done with herself. Her childhood friend, meanwhile, was an Olympian, and then she moved into media, and she's very glamorous and famous and all the rest. And okay, so there'll be lots of tension with that, and then there'll be a murder, and we'll figure out who did it. Opens with, we know exactly who did the murder. It's like, oh, okay, straight away you don't really know what's going on. And so I kind of struggle to say exactly what the book is, because it's not a murder mystery. We know who did it, but what we don't know is why. And it's this beautiful exploration of the sort of desperation of a life lived that you're not trapped into exactly, but you've followed what's expected, and now you've reached a certain point and you don't know what to do next, and you don't know how you got there, and it's just all sort of happened around you, and she evokes this sort of desperation beautifully. And it's a really, it's quite an interesting book, because in one moment you'll be laughing because it's really funny, and the next moment you're heartbroken for these characters. And so it's beautifully done, and yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. So Sandy Toksvig, Flying Under Bridges. I will definitely be looking for more of her books. I actually already have been looking for more of her books since I've discovered the two really good secondhand bookshops in town, which is awesome, and Little and charity shops, which obviously everything's shut now, so we'll wait. And of course we have the Kindle, so there are always more books. Alright, so Sealfinger by Heide, Goody and Iain Grant. Okay, so Heide, Goody and Iain Grant wrote the Odd Jobs series, which I really, really enjoyed. It was basically a organisation in Birmingham, if I'm remembering rightly. May not be. Northern City anyway. Whose job is to essentially make sure that the end of the world goes smoothly, because you can't stop it, and the world's basically going to be devoured by these Lovecraftian monsters who are just beyond the veil. But what they're trying to do is, until that point comes, until it actually ends, just to make sure things go as smoothly as possible and the general public don't find out about it, because there'd be a panic and that sort of thing, and nobody wants that. So I really enjoyed Odd Jobs. I've actually only read the first of the series. I need to get the others. They also wrote the Clovenhoof series, which is, again, I only read one of those, which is Satan has been fired from hell because he wasn't doing a very good job, and in exile he's sent to Earth, and he's essentially going to live in this little block of flats, and he makes human friends and comes up with all sorts of just weird things happen, as it would. And so that was good fun as well. This is completely different because, well, not completely different, but it's quite different because there's no supernatural elements. and instead it's more of a kind of a crime caper. So you've got Sam, who works for this, I'm not really sure what it is, some sort of odd organisation that does everything from Meals on Wheels to corporate security. Not quite sure. She seems to be the only one working there other than a cactus. Quite Carl Hiaasen-like in a lot of places, like sort of really weird events get thrown in and sort of taken to extremes. But I really enjoyed it. It was good fun. I will be looking for the rest. So yeah, fun, well written, complete romp. It's one of those ones where you can sort of hang up your brain a little bit and just go along for the ride and really enjoy it. So Sealfinger, Heide, Goody, and Iain Grant. Okay, what else? Demonic Indemnity by Craig McClay. Okay, so can't remember where I picked this one up actually. Basically, Tim, our hero, works in an insurance agency, but in a world where the existence of demons and vampires and all sorts of other things is just accepted, and so they insure for all these completely random, bizarre acts like possession and things like that. And yeah, it was a good read. I didn't really connect to the character that much. I didn't feel some of the language used as well in the writing. It created a bit of a distance, so I wasn't too worried about the character if he was in trouble and that sort of thing. But it was a good light read, and I'd probably pick up another of his books if I saw them, but I wouldn't go hunting them out. So Demonic Indemnity, Craig McClay. Okay, almost there. I'll stop talking soon before I mess it up again as well. I started this without any books. It took me until take 4 before I realised I hadn't brought the books out. That's worrying. Okay, so now I am on to the Rivers of London series by Ben Aaronovitch. Okay, I shared a couple of weeks ago or a week ago or something, I don't know, all the days run into one. I shared on Facebook a link to the UK Kindle site, and they had the first 7 books on sale. And I've read the first 3 or 4, maybe, I'm not sure, which I've got in paperback back in the UK. But I kept meaning to go on and read the others, and I knew I had to start again from the start, so I just bought them all. I was like, I'll just get all of them, fine. So I think that's what I'll be reading for the next month or so, which I'm thoroughly looking forward to because I do really enjoy them. And if you haven't tried Rivers of London and you like a good sort of police procedural urban fantasy mashup, grab them. They're great, but they're a little bit gory in places, but it's not... It tends to be things you see after the fact as opposed to massive violent scenes. I'm not sure I'm explaining that very well. It's the bodies they find rather than them seeing it happen to the bodies, I guess would be the best way to put it. So there is some violence, there is some gore, there is some language, but they're great reads. So that sort of stuff doesn't bother you, which doesn't bother me. Rivers of London series. Go grab them if you see them. Keep an eye on them, and hopefully they'll come on sale again wherever you are. And yes, other than I did not finish. Am I finished? But why did I finish? That is my reading for kind of the last 6 weeks. So yes, the Tuies did not come back. I'm sorry about that. I should have... if I'd been able to keep the first take, we would have heard them, but obviously there was no books. That was going to be a bit tricky. Okay, so over to you, lovely people. What have you been reading? How are you doing out there? How are you looking out for yourselves? How is your summer been? Let me know below, or depending on where you're watching this, you can always drop me a message as well. And I just really hope you are doing what you need to do to stay safe, stay well in all the aspects. Because I think a lot of us were looking, certainly in the Northern Hemisphere, looking forward to summer as being that kind of reset when everything was going to be a little bit back to normal. And I don't really think it is quite. So I hope you're doing okay with that, and I hope as the weather cools down, the year goes on, that you're just looking out for yourselves and doing what you need to do. And that is all from from me. All right, we shall see you next time, hopefully with 2 E's, and we'll talk to you before I get blown away. Bye.